Welcome to Keep Going, a podcast about failure and success, hosted by John Biggs. Every week, we talk to an amazing person about a time they failed and what they learned. And remember, when you're going through hell, keep going.
Welcome back to Keep Going, a podcast about success and failure. I'm John Biggs. Today, show we have Ashley Mantha. She's a certified sexologist and a sexuality and relationship coach, which I believe you're the first one we've had on here. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of, this is kind of a crossover to the other work that I'm doing in psychedelics, but I think you're what I would love to hear from you is basically what you do and how you help people. Look at your Substack. You have sort of like a website where folks can go and sign up for counseling. But I just wanted to understand what you're up to.
I love my work so much. I work primarily with high achieving women and also couples. And it's a lot about helping people address the things that are getting in the way of pleasure, connection, intimacy, and thriving in their lives. And so whether that's anxiety, stress, communication, conflict resolution, I really love to kind of dive in and help empower people with knowledge so that they can show up as their authentic selves and be loved as they are.
So I feel like that high-performing women I think that's kind of an interesting point. I think there's a lot of reticence, first off, to talk about sexuality, especially if you're in some quote-unquote high-performing role, if you're in a high-performing situation. That stress, however, and the associated, kind of like isolation, right? If you're working constantly, I'm sure is wreaking havoc on all sorts of love lives. So how do you pull people out of a situation where they just can't figure it out?
It's so common, right? Like folks in the C-suite, folks who are entrepreneurs, it's really, really typical to let work get in the way or to have things going on in the home life that are draining you or causing you grief. And then you show up in the boardroom and you're kind of an asshole. And so I try to help smooth that out for folks, and to become aware of it is really the first step, and what's going on and where are the blockages, and then to start to bring some conscious inquiry to it. My master's degree is in philosophy. So I really like asking questions that gets you thinking, like, where am I in all of this? And how can I orient myself to the solution and start moving in that direction?
And then you're also talk a little bit about cannabis and other medicines. So how does that fit in?
It fits in a very permissive way. Very few people come to me directly because they're like, I need help with cannabis in the bedroom. Like that ends up being sort of an auxiliary. Like they like that I'm cannabis friendly or psychedelics friendly, and it might come up in a session here or there. I wrote a book called The CBD Solution, Sex, that's all about incorporating whole plant medicine, not just CBD, into the bedroom. So when those things are brought to the table, a lot of times with women that work with me, they experience pain with penetration, or they feel disconnected from their bodies. And they're like, are there some plant-based remedies I can turn to instead of pharmaceuticals? And we kind of go down that rabbit hole to see what might help them.
So if I'm a founder, I'm constantly thinking, constantly on my toes, constantly under stress, what are some steps I need to take on a regular basis to maintain like a healthy sex life?
The first one is going to sound so silly when I say it, but it honestly helps. It's to take a deep breath and unclench your asshole.
Okay.
Right? Like it really, the tension that we hold in our pelvic floor is so profound, and most of us are blissfully unaware of it. We're just moving through the day. And when I say that, people are like, wow, that feels really different. Oh my God.
I'm over here trying it. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure which direction, but I'll figure it out.
Just when you exhale, just let everything relax.
Okay. All right. And it's nice. It's nice you can just do it by yourself. It's cool.
It is. It really is. And your jaw will naturally relax around the same time, because our jaw and our sphincter muscles are actually like rather entwined through the innervation of our bodies. So when we intentionally start to become aware of our bodies and mindfully relax, that's like step 1 through 3. And from there, it's like, okay, what comes up for you when you're thinking about the stress in your life? Where do you feel it in your body? Is it tension in your shoulders? Is it a pit in your stomach? How does that show up for you when you are alone, when you're masturbating? Are you masturbating to escape from your life? Or how does it show up with your partner? Do you feel like, as you're doing things with your partner, you're actually doing your mental checklist of the things you have to do at work the next day? How present are you able to be? And how can we start to get you more present, both in your body and with your partner?
Okay, so that was step 1, right? So were there more? Because I'm
taking notes.
Like I need this. Yeah, exactly.
There are lots of steps, and it really, I customize it very specifically to the person that I'm speaking with, because everyone has a slightly different story and different stressors that will impact them in various kinds of ways. But broad strokes, I encourage people to slow down. A lot of times we will rush intimacy, whether we are rushing to get there, like, okay, oh good, we have 10 minutes. Let's like make out really fast and then rip all our clothes off and like I'm gonna go stick it right in your pussy. Like, whoa, speed demon. Can we slow down? Can we like breathe together and make eye contact and like actually land in the moment and not just think about, oh, it's going to feel really good to do the thing, to penetrate, to orgasm. And so the slowing down, okay, can I feel my pinky toe? Can I feel my right pointer finger? Right? Like, can I really be embodied in this present moment and notice how my body is reacting to you? Do I feel safe and comfortable with you? Or am I kind of clenchy and performance oriented? What if I don't stay hard? What if I come too fast? What if I, the what ifs just go on and torture us. So slowing down, coming back to presence, going from there.
What do you do about I guess you'd call it like a sexless relationship, either through work stress or could be, perimenopause, that sort of thing? How do you manage that sort of thing?
It's so common. And how we define sexless is different, right? Like for some people, sexless is we're only having sex once a month. For some people, it's we're not having sex at all. And so I like to start with getting clear on what sex means to you. Like when you say, I want sex or I want sex more frequently, what are you actually asking for? Emily Nagoski, who's an amazing sex and relationship researcher, wrote a book called Come Together for couples in long-term relationships. And she's identified 4 things that people typically want when they say that they want sex. The first one, of course, is pleasure. They want to feel good. The other one is connection, escape, and power. Mm-hmm. They want to feel like they have some semblance of control in their life. The world is chaotic. And for this moment, can I be in control of my world? And all of these things make sense, but zeroing in on like, what is it that you actually want when you say that you want sex? And are there other ways to get it other than strictly penetrative sex? Can you be making out more? Can you be cuddling more or kissing more or having date nights or just having your partner communicate that they desire you? A lot of it is around like wanting to feel desired. So it's getting clear on that and then communicating that to your partner so you can kind of try to find some resolution. A lot of couples come to me and the husband's like, my wife only wants to have sex once a month. How do I fix her? How do I get her to want sex more often? And like, you are asking the wrong question, sir. Like, the question has to be, what makes sex worth wanting?
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good start. So the other question I have is basically about the idea of almost like incel culture or what's happening in Gen Z, I suppose, where you're having all of this weird misogynies bubbling up, or this sort of like hard charging 24/7 work ethic associated with startups is turning itself into almost sort of like a religion, right? So how do you diffuse that sort of thing in culture? That attitude that I'm either too great to date anybody or nobody will date me because I'm too fascinated by, I don't know, physics or Go code or something like that.
It's a tough one.
That makes sense? Yeah.
It does. It's a nettlesome topic, and it honestly depends on like how entrenched in that sort of self-loathing / misogynistic community they are. Like if they're on Reddit threads at 3 a.m. talking about how bitches be bitches, like you've got a long way to come back from that to make yourself dateable. If on the other hand, you are just, kind of a high powered executive and you don't really know how to bridge the gap from being a badass in the boardroom to being able to date and find partners that are suitable for you, that's a little bit more of a fertile ground to work with, right? Like you can zoom in on what are the traits that are actually important to you in a partner? What are your values? Do you want your partner to be clever and intelligent? Do you want them to be really compassionate and understanding? Do you want mommy? And if that's the case, how can you start to meet some of those needs? Because if you're going to a prospective partner from a place of lack, where I need you to fill in all the gaps in my life, that's not a good spot to start from. Like, what can you be doing to pour into your own cup to make sure that you have supportive community, to make sure that you are practicing self-care and wellness in ways that actually fill you up instead of drain you. If you are working 80-hour weeks and living on nothing but coffee and other stimulants, maybe you need to take a look at that before you think you might want to start, inflicting yourself on another person.
Besides gym tan laundry or something like that, what are some of the best practices for young men who don't feel attractive or feel that they can't find relationships?
Get off screens for some period of time. Touch nature. Touch something that's alive. Go look at something beautiful. Watch a sunset. Go swim in the ocean. We are so dependent on screens, and I am guilty of it as anyone. I spend much too much time on social media, and every time I do, I'm like, oh, I feel so yucky. But when I actually go out and go for a walk in the redwoods or go to the beach or even just go to the gym and move my body, I feel more capable. I feel more grounded and kind of connected to the world. And that gives me the confidence to start to want to interact with other people.
And what would you do? What would you say to to an entrepreneur who says, yeah, I can't get out, I can't escape, I can't get away from the screens? I mean, they're staring at a dashboard, right, constantly that says the sales are up or whatever. So you're kind of stuck on that front.
You got to get better boundaries. Like it's hard. I'm not going to say that it's easy, but especially if you are more of an executive type, you run a business, you have the resources to outsource some of that labor. You can have an assistant or a VP or a manager or someone who you can divert some of those energies to, so that you are freed up. Because if you're just a workaholic, you're not actually showing up as the best version of yourself as a business person anyway. So it behooves you to start to, diversify your portfolio a little bit, in the sense of having more balance in your life and being willing to not hold everything because, if I don't do every single thing, everything's going to crumble down. Like, ooh, that's ego talking. Okay, let's see if we can release that clench a little bit and see what happens when you trust someone else to show up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lovely idea. I like this like force yourself to get out. So I want folks to go to, you have retreats, you have coaching, you have online workshops, and you also have your Substack as well, where you talk about having a blast ultimately, which sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, what do you think is when I always ask this of like the tech bros, but when you're done, what does the world look like?
Hopefully the world looks really well fucked. Honestly, like if I can leave the world a more pleasurable place than I found it, I will have really succeeded in my life. And I don't just mean with penetrative sex. Like I want people to feel like they have such beautiful access to pleasure and satisfaction, whether on their own or with their partner, in subtle ways and in more explicit ways, that they feel like I'm living my best erotic life. That's what I want for people.
So the future has to be, everybody has to have a half smile on their face as they waft through the city streets. Sounds good. I think that sounds way better than it is right now.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to send folks to ashleymanta.substack.com. It's ashleymanta.substack.com, and also your website, ashleymanta.com, where you can get online coaching. You've got events and things, workshops.
I do. I travel all over the world. I was just in Greece and Italy. I'm heading to Jamaica in January, Belize in February. I'm all over the place. And that's why I work with all my coaching clients online, because I'm like Carmen Sandiego.
All right. Well, that sounds great. So thank you for joining. I think this has been super enlightening.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Keep Going. I'm John Biggs. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to Keep Going, a podcast about success and failure. Remember, Keep Going is entirely listener supported. If you're listening to this, please head over to keepgoingpod.com, where you can subscribe to the podcast for as little as $5 a month. This is a labor of love, and every little bit helps. Thanks for listening.